Hello, how are you? Today, I'm going to talk to you about the benefits of drinking cinnamon tea at the end of the day as part of your evening routine. These benefits can be related to glucose, blood sugar, sleep, digestion. I'll also tell you how to make it the right way and whether you can boost it even more. You're going to love this video. I'll tell you the right time to drink it, which makes a difference. Stick around until the end. You won't want to miss this. Before we start, I want to ask if you have the habit of drinking any kind of tea in your daily life. Do you drink it for the taste or for the benefits? Which tea do you drink the most? I'd love to read your comment. Remember to like the video. It's really important for me here on the channel. It shows YouTube that you support the channel and that you trust my content. And if you know someone who might be interested in this video, go ahead and share it. Let's expand our chain of kindness because that's what I want here with the channel. When we think about cinnamon tea and about drinking it before bed, of course, the first thing that comes to mind is how cinnamon can help control blood sugar, how it can help with glycemic spikes in managing blood sugar levels, glycemia. And really, it's not that it burns sugar, it acts on many specific metabolic pathways related to insulin. It contains very important bioactive compounds, cinnamaldehydes, polyphenols, which have an antioxidant effect and a really nice modulatory action on signaling related to insulin. We already know mainly about its role in improving insulin sensitivity, so the cell responds better to the insulin that's already present. In other words, it really helps by making the cells more responsive to the insulin our body already produces. It also works by increasing glucose uptake. So the muscle absorbs more glucose independently of insulin, and the adipose tissue also absorbs more glucose. As a result, the glucose circulating in your plasma, in your blood, tends to decrease. Another point is related to hepatic glucose production, that is, the production of sugar by your own liver, since the liver also acts in this way, regulating blood sugar levels. And during the night, the liver produces this glucose through two processes. And people who have greater insulin resistance tend to have a more excessive production of glucose at this time of night. And some experimental studies already indicate that cinnamon may help according to the modulation of enzymes involved in gluconeogenesis, modulation of gene expression related to this issue of glucose secretion and production by the liver, and even by reducing oxidative stress in the liver, which could contribute to a better condition. So, in several different ways, cinnamon plays a very interesting role in blood sugar control. I have to give you a warning here. This effect is always complementary because there's no point in thinking, oh, I'm going to drink cinnamon tea before bed. But then for dinner, you ate a whole tray of lasagna, a big tub of ice cream, snacks, French fries. That's not how it works. It helps your body to help you, but it's not a miracle worker. For you to experience the effects, ideally you should always have a balanced diet and a healthy lifestyle. Another point is the relationship between cinnamon and sleep, because some people say that cinnamon is stimulating, that cinnamon will help give you more energy. That's not exactly the case. The thing is, cinnamon can actually help improve your sleep because it may help reduce digestive discomfort at night. Since it helps lower glucose spikes, it makes you get up fewer times to pee and feel less thirsty if you have these persistent issues. So it really does help with those awakenings caused by sudden drops and spikes in glucose, and it can give you that feeling of warmth and relaxation. So it's actually very interesting to consider cinnamon tea. When prepared the right way, right before bed, it can indeed help you have a better night's sleep, even though it's not as relaxing as, say, chamomile. Later on, I'll tell you some ways to further boost the sleep benefits by adding other ingredients to your cinnamon tea. Another benefit of cinnamon has to do with our digestion. Cinnamon has a carminative effect, meaning it helps reduce excessive gas production, stimulates beneficial digestive secretions, and also improves that feeling of bloating, that feeling of slow and heavy digestion. In addition, it has a mild antimicrobial activity, so it helps improve the gut microbiota and supports intestinal function. It's really interesting to consume it at night for all these reasons, because many people have a somewhat slower metabolism, slower digestion, sometimes even due to eating heavier foods, and they experience a lot of difficulty with digestion during the night. So cinnamon tea can also help in this complementary way. It's worth quickly mentioning whether or not to sweeten it, because cinnamon tea is already naturally sweet. Cinnamon is a naturally sweet spice, just like vanilla, which also leans toward sweetness. So it's not a tea that you necessarily need to sweeten. If you want to sweeten it, you can use, for example, stevia, a non-caloric sweetener, but I really don't think it's necessary. And of course, ideally, you shouldn't add sugar, because sugar can cause glucose spikes, insulin spikes, and that goes against everything we're talking about here. Sugar ferments in the intestine and produces gas, so it wouldn't be the best option. Oh, Patricia, what about brown or coconut sugar? It's still sugar. So even though they have some minerals, well, they're not really a source of minerals, but they do have trace amounts, which is why people sometimes say, oh, I'll use it for that. No, it will still affect your blood sugar and it's not recommended at this time. So how should you properly make cinnamon tea? There are two ways, because cinnamon traditionally comes in two forms. If you use cinnamon sticks, they're hard, so you can't just throw them in boiling water, put them in a cup, and think you're going to extract the bioactive compounds. This type of tea, which we call an infusion, can only be made with ground cinnamon. You mix the powder, which is already finely ground, with boiling water, cover it for a few minutes, and then you see the color change, you smell the aroma, and everything else starts to happen. To be able to extract the benefits from the cinnamon stick, you have to bring it to a boil on the stove, which is a different extraction method that we call decoction. You need to take the cinnamon stick, put it in a larger amount of water, because you'll have to let it boil there for about 5 to 10 minutes. So also, if you put just 2 fingers of water, it will all evaporate, and in the end, you won't have any tea left. So use a slightly larger amount so you can do this extraction. Then you let it boil for 5 to 10 minutes. After that, you cover it with the heat off, let it sit for another 5 minutes or so, fish out the cinnamon stick, and that's it. You can drink it. One very important thing is that you should never drink it right before going to bed, because otherwise you'll end up waking up in the middle of the night to urinate. So ideally, you should drink it at least 90 minutes before sleeping to give your body time to absorb these compounds. And when we think about drinking a liquid, we think, oh my God, I drank it and now I'm immediately going to pee. That's not how it works. The body first has to absorb this drink, and liquids are preferably absorbed at the end of the intestine. Then they enter the bloodstream and are filtered by the kidneys. So it's a process that takes time, which is why I say that usually around 90 minutes is a safe amount of time. If you wake up a lot to urinate, wait even longer, maybe 2 or 3 hours before bed, you can even drink it in the late afternoon to avoid having this negative effect. Now, what could you consume along with it to boost this tea, to further enhance these benefits? An interesting option could be to add chamomile tea. Chamomile contains apigenin, which binds to GABA receptors in our brain, so it promotes an anxiolytic, relaxing effect and can enhance the beneficial effects of relaxation and sleep. Fennel has a very interesting antispasmodic action, helping to reduce gas and cramps, so it's a very interesting combination. If you want to enhance it and make your tea with cinnamon, chamomile, and also fennel, it turns out wonderful, it's delicious, and you get these 3 benefits in a very powerful way. And then, usually, you do this. First, if you use cinnamon sticks, you first boil the stick, turn off the heat, and only add the fennel and chamomile when there's no more heat. Remember, if you have any health problems, if you're in doubt, oh, can I take this with such and such medication? Talk to your doctor or your nutritionist in your city. This video here is for informational purposes only. If you have any specific questions, talk to them. Tell me, at what time would you drink this tea? Would you have it right after dinner or a little earlier in the evening? I'd really love to see your comment and know what you think. Remember to like the video, that helps me a lot, and share it with those who will enjoy it and those who need it. Let's work together to expand this chain of kindness. That's what I want with the channel. See you next time. Bye.